Classic Plus might have just leaked, and if it's real, we're not just talking about a new season or some runes. This could be the biggest shift in World of Warcraft since 2004. A supposed internal roadmap was leaked on 4chan, claiming to reveal the next 2 years of WoW Classic, leading all the way up to a new era called Classic Infinite. So today, we're breaking down what players want, what Blizzard's actually tested, and if this leak is actually legit. I've been wanting to make a video on Classic Plus for a while now, and after seeing this leak, I think it's about that time. So here's what we're gonna do in this video. We're covering 3 things: what players actually want in Classic Plus, what this leak claims Blizzard is doing next, and what Blizzard themselves already surveyed months ago that proves they've been planning something big behind the scenes. And at the end, I'm gonna give you my personal wish list for Classic Plus, because I don't know about you, but I'm ready for something new. Let's start with the players, because whatever Classic Plus becomes, it has to deliver on this. Classic WoW, but new. And we're not just guessing. We have real data from 11,000 responses from Zaryu's survey. And honestly, this list is pretty universal. We're talking new leveling zones, fixed quest lines like Varian Rin's The Missing Diplomat, fully finished lore areas like Hyjal or Gilneas, solo challenges like the Mage Tower, flex raids, dual spec, and fewer than 20 warriors per raid. Seriously, Boomkins might actually get some mana regen. Now let's be honest, it's a little bad when players are more excited to finish quest lines from 20 years ago than anything that retail WoW has to offer. But here's the thing, that's what we want. What is Blizzard actually willing to do about this? Enter the leak. So here's where things get spicy. A supposed internal document was dumped online recently, outlining Blizzard's roadmap for all of WoW from now until late 2027. Here's the quick version of what it claims. Mob Classic confirmed into 2026, permanent Classic era servers expanded, Cataclysm and Mop era choices merged into timeline servers, a new version called Classic Infinite launching late 2027, which features new race class combos, new zones, revamped raids, and possibly a new class. Before we go deeper, drop one feature that you want the most in Classic WoW down below in the comments. I read every single one, and I want to make a follow-up video covering the top 20. Thank you in advance. Now, is it real? We don't really know, but here's why it's somewhat believable. It lines up perfectly with Blizzard's 2 to 3 year development cadence. It matches the systems that Season of Discovery was testing, and Classic WoW's population is still massive, and so they'd be crazy to not evolve it. Also, come on. If Blizzard can release 5 different versions of Wrath of the Lich King for China, I think they can pull their socks up for Classic Plus. But wait, the real question isn't what the leak says, it's what Blizzard has actually hinted up to this point. So here's the part that most people forget. Months ago, the WoW Classic team sent out a survey asking players everything that they would like to see in Classic Plus. So before this leak showed up, Blizzard was already testing Classic Plus feature ideas, everything from limited transmog to new classes to unexplored zones. So no, this leak didn't come out of nowhere. Blizzard's been feeling this out for years, and Season of Discovery was step 1. But now here's the big question. If Blizzard actually does give us Classic Plus, what version are we gonna get? Are we gonna get Classic 2.0? Are we gonna get Season of Discovery? Or are we just gonna get a forever permanent era server with minor changes? I think the biggest page that Blizzard can take out of the OSRS playbook here is to make community-driven polls out of features that you want to bring into the game. If you do that, I feel like the server can't really go wrong. All right, so now that we've looked at what players want, what the leak claims, and what Blizzard has already tested, let me tell you about what I personally want from Classic Plus. I want to see enhanced class specializations, okay? I want to see Boomkins get some mana regen, and I want to see them get like an extra ability like Star Surge, but I don't want to see their kit become so overpowered where they're running into combat, popping Incarn, Starfall, and Convoke and one-shotting someone. I don't think it needs to go there. I just think they need a little bit of help to catch up to the other classes. And even when it comes to the other classes, I just think some minor utility changes and maybe just adding in a couple extra buttons for them, but not really reinventing the wheel. If you look at every single expansion that Blizzard created, classes continued to evolve and their identities got stronger and stronger and stronger as time went on. And so I think that we can start pulling from some of that class identity stuff that happened throughout that timeline while we create this new timeline. I also want better quality of life improvements to things like buff durations, and also just being able to like not just buff your own party, but buff the entire raid with one button. And also if your buff didn't take 100% of your mana in order to do, that would also be great. I think it would also be great to have stuff like AoE looting. And I also want to see further development of existing zones within Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms. Just think about being able to go to a classic version of Hyjal, or Gilneas, or Uldum, or Ghostlands. And I'm also going to be extremely upset if Blizzard does not put in 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, 5 versus 5, maybe even 1 versus 1, and definitely please, please, please RBGs. If we can't figure out how to get arenas and rated battlegrounds into Classic Plus, then I just don't know what we're even doing. And look, I got to admit, I stopped playing Season of Discovery in Phase 3, okay? I didn't like the whole questing stuff that they came out with in order to level up and give you thousands and thousands of gold and basically discredit all of the work you'd done in the previous 6 months. But hey, I digress. And so I want to see some of those dungeons and stuff come back to life that I never got to experience. I want to see Karazhan Crypts. I want to see the Scarlet Enclave. And I heard there was even a new one in, I think it was like Black Fathom Depths or somewhere in Ashenvale or something. I also want to see new textures in familiar areas, like having like a snow-covered Warsong Gulch for the winter months, or in Orgrimmar with new buildings or buildings being constructed. And so then when we have new features and new content patches come out in the future, you now have a place to put those new NPCs. And just to tack on to that, like just last but not least, the thing that I want most about Classic Plus is I want it to feel familiar, but I want it to feel different. And I think that's the most important thing that we need to hit on here, right? Like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to do a cataclysm to the world. But I think if we add in a couple more NPCs into some towns, or just a couple more NPCs walking around, or just, you know, some new trees, or just some new things in the world that are happening, and things that actually connect with what's happening in the lore in that zone, right? Like, don't just put in a random dragon into Durotar. You know, put in like the deformed pig people. Quillbor. And look, I know that that's kind of a long list that I just gave out right there, but I think that if we actually hammer on a lot of these things, I think a lot of players would come back to the game. And you know, when I think about Season of Discovery, and I think about that first Phase 1 up to level 25, I had so many people come back to the game. Friends that I hadn't talked to since high school, that hadn't played since high school. And they came back to the game and they were having the time of their lives. But when the phases continued to drag on and drag on and drag on, and there just wasn't anything new coming in and there wasn't anything new to experience, it just kind of got to the same point where it's like, oh, this is just a raid logging version of the game, and it's time to get off now. Look, I'm having a lot of fun in Classic Miss of Pandaria right now, but the second that Classic Plus comes out, I'm jumping over. And so Blizzard, please take note, because you better have these features in there, okay? If not, I'm going to make a bunch of videos like talking crap, so... So whether the leak ends up being true or not, Classic Plus clearly isn't just a meme anymore. Blizzard has tested it, players want it, and honestly, it's the most exciting thing that WoW could do right now. If Blizzard does announce anything about Classic Plus anytime soon, you can rest assured that I will be there to cover all of it. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below on some of the features that you want to see in Classic Plus, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!